We are about to enter into an information warfare like no other. If you thought COVID, the vaccines, and all of the health stuff over the last 5 years was crazy, what's happening right now, some of the signs, the signals, all the drops, Trump, the white hats, everything, and what's coming is going to be absolutely crazy. Today, I want to talk a little bit about the health crisis, some clues, drops, this warfare that we are in, and how to prep you because you're going to have to make the decisions yourself. The next phase of the information warfare is here. Guys, before I get started, I want to humbly ask you for your financial support. As you guys know, I'm doing a fundraiser. We are less than 20% away from our goal. All the information is in the link down below at thegivesendgo.com. This is going to help me and my team be operational to give you more content and to make a lot of my work easier. Let's get the word out. One of the last things I need to do is fund myself with a new desktop. Earlier this year, the one that I've used for the last 5 years crashed and I'm forced to use my laptop. It's much slower. My workflow, my editing, all of the exporting, everything has slowed down significantly because I've been using this laptop. And because I've been so frugal, I need to make this purchase so it can help me with my workflow. This is one detail out of many that your funding will help support. All the information is in the link down below. I also have PayPal, Zelle, and Venmo if you guys want to support me in that way. Alternatively, if you guys want to support me to increase exposure, subscribe, like, and comment. The algorithm will push this video out to so many people, and that alone will do so much more for the impact I have across the world. So let's get back into it. As you guys know, last week, President Trump, RFK, and the White House had suggested a link between acetaminophen, which is basically Tylenol, and autism, and it has triggered a firestorm among many people across the industry. Now, I believe this is the first phase out of many to get people awakened to their slumber and to question certain things that we have been accustomed to that has been given to us as a social norm. A recent Rasmussen poll as of the beginning of September showed that 56% of Americans believe it is likely that COVID-19 shots have caused many unexplained deaths. So again, I'm not giving any facts. I'm not a doctor. I'm not saying what's true or not. What I'm saying is that there's hesitancy. People that are legitimately questioning and having concerns over the vaccines, and many more articles are coming out and saying, hey, let's stop demonizing those who have legitimate concerns over the vaccines. And you guys know my take over the years. I've said before, when somebody tells you this is safe and effective, it could be true. But when you say that you won't have long-term effects, how do you know that? How do you know? Because this research and the newness of this novelty of this vaccine has only been out for such a short amount of time. When you say that in 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, you're not going to have any problems, how do you know that? Because that time has not come about. Now, maybe God showed you in a prophetic dream, and I could give some weight to that. But if you think because you have a title, because you say you're a doctor, because you're an epidemiologist, and you have all this research, doesn't mean that you are for sure factual about the cause and effect of what's going to happen in the future with these COVID vaccines. Again, I'm not anti-vaccine in the traditional sense. I'm just skeptical about certain things. So these people that have concerns, people are listening to them and they're trying to do research to see what's really going on. Now, specifically about research and vaccines, there's much more coming out on either side. And I'm just going to try to be fair about this, but Whiplash 347 says that it's vaccines, specifically aluminum. Tylenol makes it worse by depleting glutathione, which is needed to detox. Vaccines are what is causing the fevers and seizures. Tylenol depletes glutathione, which blocks detox pathways. So the chemicals and metals from the vaccines build up in their tiny bodies, causing inflammation in their bodies and brains, which then leads to neurological damage. And here there's a sample CDC vaccine schedule. Back in 1962, there were only 5 doses. 1983, you have 24 doses. 2025, you have influenza, COVID, and so many yearly vaccines, a total of 94 doses before the age of 18. Now, I'm not here to, again, cast doubt on the entire Western medical system, but if you realize what happened from the Rockefeller medicine years all the way up till now, they have allowed Eastern medicine with herbs and natural things to be quackery. And if you questioned a lot of the new things that are oil-based medicines, people are going to call you a lunatic. So all in all, what I'm saying is that this is the type of information warfare and demonization people have over the power of what the medical industry is in its current form in the Western world today. And as you guys know, a lot of things have changed even in the last 10, 20 years. If you have been even in the food and beverage and health industry, you guys know that what they told us about certain foods, we have organic, processed. And it's been more mainstream into accepting the fact that organic and things that are, they call it bioengineered now, but anything that's processed, we know that that's not good for you. And most of probably the world can agree. If you take something that's genetically modified and churned over and over with crazy pesticides and all of that, it's probably not good for you. And so that narrative even has shifted over the years. And just natural things like sleeping, eating, and working out, exercise, all of that has a lot better to do than to have all of this crazy food pyramid type diet. And so I believe what's happening is also occurring in the medical, the pharmaceutical, and the modern day medical industry. There's been a shakeup and there's been a bit of a turning point into questioning the status quo of what we are living under in terms of this whole system. Because again, there's a lot of mismotivation, right? Insurance, money, making money off patients, and all of that being put on a drug for the rest of your life versus having actual cures. I mean, which doctor tells you that you should just go sleep and have vitamin B and take magnesium glycinate, zinc, and vitamin C and all these things, natural things, as opposed to getting another prescription drug? And again, I'm not here to harp on the entire medical industry. There are things that are very great. It's almost a miracle, the fact that this was researched and that we have such innovation, specifically like things like surgery, like actual surgery, physical therapy. I've been a product of that. I've had physical therapy, shoulder surgery because I got my shoulder dislocated and all these things. And it's helped a lot, obviously. But to have certain things where you just are pumped liquids and medicines and pharmaceutical things versus doing it, I don't know, in some other way. And again, I'm not claiming to know the answers. That, in some sense, that hesitancy, that skepticism is real. It's legitimate. And it should be listened to by the general population. And this is what's happening in this information warfare. Now, of course, a lot of data is coming out in terms of, yes, autism rates are going up globally. People are asking the right questions. What is the research showing us? Is there causation? Is it genetic? Is it influenced by something else, like what RFK Trump is implying, basically, with regards to the introduction of vaccines and other things? And if you look up a lot of news right now, especially mainstream news, they're saying that, yes, autism is going up, but the reason for that is because of the diagnoses as opposed to the surge in actual cases by the ratio, meaning there's a broader diagnostic criteria like DSM, ICD revisions in the 1990s, 2013, improved tools to find and diagnose it, greater awareness, less stigma, expanded support services, earlier detection, and all these other things, showing that it is, in some sense, 80% heritable. And so these are some of the things that people are saying that, oh, there's nothing to it here, nothing to look at here. And again, I'm trying to be fair. I'm not here thinking, oh, I'm going to completely believe this or that. I'm open to what is the truth. The highest order I should have as a believer is what is actually true. This perception, this paradigm of reality that we have been given as a construct of what we need to function in this ecosystem of health and society, is it actually being busted and bursted such that we need to relearn certain things? Data is telling us one thing, where in certain countries, and again, this red means there's more cases per certain amount of people. The ratio, it's much higher in obviously the U.S. and some of the Western countries. People need to realize that there's causation based on certain criteria. If you introduce something new, for example, like vaccines over the last 10 years, for which some of them are new, is it going to do certain damage in the long run? So these are things for which, if you argue, well, in the last 100 years, it's been fine, nothing's been different, you don't understand that we have to go to a deeper level of analysis and study to allow, genetics, age, other factors to play into it, because there's always going to be connections that we don't really know about. And that's just common sense. It's like logic to be able to be so close-minded to say, well, you know what, it's been tradition, it's just always like this. That type of outlook on life for anything is an arrogant and prideful way to look at certain things, in my opinion. And I always remember these two verses, 2 Thessalonians 2:9-11. The coming of the lawless one is according to the working of Satan, with all power, signs, and lying wonders, and with all unrighteous deception among those who perish. And for this reason, God will send them strong delusion that they should believe the lie. In 2 Timothy 4:3-4, for the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but according to their own desires, because they have itching ears, they will heap up for themselves teachers, and they will turn their ears away from the truth and be turned aside to fables. Now, you could argue this is for scripture and sound biblical gospel doctrine, but it applies to a lot of concepts regarding truth. Now, let's talk a little bit about the frontier we are in right now, because this whole Barack Obama and many leaders on the left, they're using health, they're using what Trump is saying and weaponizing it to their own gain, meaning they're going and taking a side, pushing this agenda and trying to fight back from what Trump is doing. And I'm going to go over this in a second, but right now what you're seeing is Barack Obama and many others taking one side and saying we have people in power making broad claims around certain drugs and autism that have been continuously disproven. The degree to which these comments can undermine public health, do harm to women who are pregnant, create anxiety for parents who do not have children who are autistic, is violence against the truth. So again, these are strong statements. There's a war in the spirit for truth around the topic of health, and we have to understand where these spirits are. And as you guys know, if you follow Q as well as this whole white hat operation going on, this is part of a greater takedown operation, because Obama, and again, this is per Trump and the white hats and all of that, committed treason. Now, this is interesting because earlier today, and this is on September 25th, he reposted this interview that he had back in July, I believe, with the Filipino president, Ferdinand Marcos Jr. And as part of that, he's talking about how Barack Obama will face strong justice. And before I play the clip here, what I find interesting is that this is a perfect 5-year delta to the T, September 25th, 2020, for post 4771. And he specifically talks about, in this post, Obama Gate. It's much bigger than what Watergate was. Over target, says Q. So let's listen just briefly to the first part of this.
They caught President Obama absolutely cold, Tulsi Gabbard. What they did to this country in 2016, starting in 2016, but going up all the way going up to 2020 in the election. They tried to rig the election and they got caught. And there should be very severe consequences for that. You know, when we caught Hillary Clinton, I said, you know what? Let's not go too far here. It's the ex-wife of a president, and I thought it was sort of terrible. And I let her off the hook, and I'm very happy I did. But it's time to start, after what they did to me, and whether it's right or wrong, it's time to go after people. Obama's been caught directly. So people say, oh, you know, a group. It's not a group. It's Obama. His orders are on the paper. The papers are signed. The papers came right out of their office. They sent everything to be highly classified. Well, the highly classified's been released. And what they did in 2016 and in 2020 is very criminal. It's criminal at the highest level. So that's really the things you should be talking about.
The gravity and the magnitude of what he's saying, because it's easy to brush him off as being, oh, he's just a crazy guy, he's just spewing stuff. But he's been saying this for the longest time. Q has been saying this for the longest time. And there's something else going on that we are not privy to. And there's an operation at play. And so that gets me to think about this news that is just breaking. Apparently, Pete Hegseth orders a rare, urgent meeting of hundreds of generals and admirals. The Pentagon has summoned military officials from around the world for a gathering in Virginia. Even top generals and their staff don't know the reason for the meeting. This is absolutely crazy. Now, of course, this is not a secret anymore, meaning that probably these guys want to be known, meaning Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War, it's called War now, among many white hats, Trump and others, because something is going down that we are not privy to. Now, this could be conspiracy-like and whatever it is. Now, if this is part of the whole military operation taking down and having hundreds of arrests and all of that, who knows? But what's absolutely clear is Trump's tone, his language, and what he's been saying from the very get-go. And as people have been saying this whole time, Trump has been right about everything. And I say it in quotes, but I really think he's been right about a lot of these things. I don't like saying things in absolute, so that's why I'm hesitating on everything. But I'm saying more than 99% of these things with regards to the information, the military intelligence, the knowledge, all of this corruption. He has hundreds of generals. He has thousands of people working that are of the white hat, Holy Spirit inspired Christian conservative people that want to do justice. They want to allow truth to disseminate and for a better world to prosper than the satanic order of the whatever it is of that deep state cabal thing or whatever. And this is what we are dealing with right now. So I just want to give you guys this quick update. There's more to come. If you guys want to support me, please subscribe, like, and comment. Let's get this out to more people. And again, if you want to support me financially, givesendgo.com/chrisyoonyt. If we meet our goal, I promise we won't be talking about this for a long time. And I'm hoping that the growth of this channel would eventually supersede this so that more finances and more blessings can come in from just YouTube itself. Stay tuned for more, guys. Thank you, guys. Talk to you guys very soon.